Praise the Lord, everyone. Thank you for tuning in with Dr. Leisha, the preacher. Okay. Hey. Guys, this may sound very juvenile and silly and all that, and that's fine. Hey, shout out for the juvenile, silly people of the world. On my channel, it is okay. All right. But I've been struggling lately with knowing how to re enter the world, I guess you could say. For the past at least 2 years, I've been kind of stuck in the house, hibernating, you know, taking care of business though, a lot of family business, focusing on my kids and grandkids. And I haven't dated. Guys, I have not dated in over 2 years. Nope, no dating. Mm-mm, nope. Now, I've gone out, with family and a couple of friends here and there, for a bite to eat and stuff like that. I do all that all the time. I socialize. I have a social life. I have a life. I have a family, daughters and grandkids and stuff and people. But as far as like dating on a romantic level, I have not done anything like that in a long time. And on many levels, I've completely lost the desire. But yet, I do want to go out and have fun, go dancing, you know, interact with people. I just don't want to be in a committed relationship. Now, I do want to give credit to the people who feel that, hey, you don't have options anyway. You're old, you're black, you're ugly, and blah, blah, blah. And that's, hey, that could be a factor. I'm not trying to ignore those possibilities out there for those who, dwell on that. But based on my experience personally as an individual, um, I've been struggling with my dating preference as far as monogamy or poly. Now, I was raised to be monogamous, although I understood that most people cheat, but I was raised to be monogamous, although most people cheat. I decided to flip that switch and teach my kids that since most people cheat, these are your options. And of course, monogamy is one of them. And these are the pros and cons of being monogamous because most people cheat. And if you want to say, well, how do you know most people cheat? Well, you just look at the divorce rates. That's just one way, not the only way. And you can't rely solely on that because that's just reflecting people who are legally married. Most people are not legally married. How about that? So, if most people cheat, then wouldn't it make more sense to live our lives based on what most people do? Instead of training ourselves for monogamy, which continually seems to fail at a high rate, why not flip it and everyone just be honest and admit that despite being raised monogamous, I realize that most people cheat, so therefore I live a life as though most people cheat. So I was raised to be monogamous, but during my second marriage, out of survival mode, I had to learn to be polyamorous. So, and I was kind of like put in a position to live that way at least like 9 years, about 9 years. And, but over the past 2 years, I have just taken a complete break and said, hey, let me just pull back because I don't know what I am anymore. I don't know if I'm monogamous, polyamorous, everything has changed. Not only have I changed, my life experiences have changed, but the world has changed. When I first got married, only a man and a woman could be legally married. Now, two men can be married, two women can be married. And I'm not complaining, but who has made the adjustments in the system? Because the earning potential of two men getting legally married is potentially greater than two women getting married, potentially. Although they claim that women make a lot of money today. But statistically, hey, I think men tend to still make more money statistically. And so, therefore, who is going to recalculate marriage laws, marriage benefits, and things based on two men being together has a financial advantage than two women legally being together? Things like that. The world has changed without the calculations changing with it. So that's one of the reasons why, you know, a person like me today in particular would struggle in the dating market because of all the trends and changes over time since I've entered the game. So between the system, um, you know, and just marriage laws becoming so relaxed where home wreckers win, divorce wins now, guys. Divorce benefits more than marriage these days. Do the math. Do the math. I just did a video on that. I think my last video explained that. So again, between, you know, the trend of the day of short-term marriages, short-term relationships being the norm, and long-term is out of style now. Short-term is winning. And divorce proves it. People can get divorced a year and walk away with half. I thought back in the day you had to put in 10 years to get anything. You know, I'm just saying. I'm not saying that that's better, but I'm just saying, things have changed. And I don't think across the board calculations have caught up with the changes. At least not at the working class level. Maybe at the celebrity level, but regular working class people level, mm-mm. The system hasn't caught up with us as far as recalculating how all that, the marriage laws and the different trends of short-term relationships and divorce winning. Because marriage laws are out of whack, divorce laws are winning. Divorce is winning because marriage laws are out of whack. Marriage laws have not recalculated and taken into account the disadvantage of the change. So that's why divorce and home wreckers are winning right now. And that's why I'm speaking up, even though it's kind of out of season, a little bit out of season, but it's becoming more real every day. Every day I speak, it's becoming more real. Divorce benefits more than legal marriage. So short term relationships are trending and more popular because they're more financially beneficial. Unfortunately, children get caught up in the costs fire and hairs and all that, but who can afford to lose? In order for me to win today, I have to keep my legs closed just to win, just to keep from losing in the game between short term relationships and, how I feel that sex is marriage, regardless to the law. The law has changed so much. People just have to be committed. You have to stick to your own vows. If not, then again, everything is just so short. Everybody's having sex how they want to, when they want to, and benefiting from sex out of breakup, divorce, home wrecking, and things like that. So, sex connected to home wreckage, divorce, and all of that is more beneficial than sex connected to long term marriage. That's the world we live in right now. Other than being old, black, ugly, unwanted and stuff like that. Other than that, it's just the market itself. The market for marriage and dating and longevity. It's kind of played out. The only thing that's really going right now is short term divorce, you know, love bombing type sex. That kind of stuff is what the norm is now. So you're going to have to base your family and career and everything off of that. Not an easy life. It happened during my lifetime. My life didn't start off that way, guys. Life didn't start off that way back in like the 90s. People still got married with the intent of, you know, trying to do their best at least. Overall, you always gonna have the individual, you know, situations, of course. But overall, people at least wanted to try and gave it their all before, just completely falling off the cliff. Now there is no trying. It's just fall off the cliff and grab as much money as you can. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. So yeah, I benefit more at this point in my life by keeping my legs closed, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, just looking out for my kids. Because I noticed that as I get older, the men and women in my life were trying to, come after my kids and my kids' friends and stuff. I'm like, what? Well, my kids will know of, my life and who I entertain if I do, but they will never meet them. I will never allow anybody in my life to meet my kids like that again. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Now, I know life happened, and sometimes, people might see each other in passing in a car or something like that. I mean, I'm not going to be creepy going out of my way, breaking my neck and everybody else's neck to, make sure the bad people stay away from my kids, kind of thing. But, you know, I've learned my lesson. I've learned that whole sugar baby experience, y'all. Ooh, Jesus Christ. I will never set my kids up like that again. Ever, 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 ever. I learned. All right, guys. And then, this whole, just this whole experience that I had as a legal wife for 32 years. I learned a lot, you know. So I'm just gonna enjoy being what I consider, a sexy little senior over here with my beard and mustache. I'm gonna be just as black, old, and ugly as I want to be, and happy and solo and divorced, and just go out and dance and enjoy people in general. I ain't gotta be overly committed to nobody, and safely enjoy my kids and grandkids the rest of the way. I ain't got to be no rich woman. Just make sure our bills is paid, our little car keep going. Thank you for showing up, guys. I appreciate your support. Click like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and thank you for your support. And yeah, I do want to talk to you guys about an email I received recently. I would never mention names or anything like that, but I will share the nature of the email. So my next live, which will be probably maybe tonight, maybe in the morning or something like that. But I received an email from someone about they have a placeholder, someone that they kind of consider a girlfriend, but they're waiting for a wife. They're waiting for the wife. They know this girlfriend is not the one, and they want to know if it's okay to continue being involved with this girl, having sex with her and stuff until the wife comes. So that'll be the next live that I do talking about this and everything. So, all right, guys, you all be blessed. Again, click like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you for your support. I do have PayPal for those of you who, you know, um, are comfortable sending love donations and being supportive to channels like mine. My PayPal is Dr. Leisha the Preacher. Be blessed, and I will see you or talk to you again soon. Bye.